Hello, this is Elise McClendon, and this is my Lab 10 video presentation. And to my right, I have some things that I wrote down to make sure I keep it all on track. So these are your kidneys, and these filter components in your blood and water, mainly to keep pH balance. So I'm actually just going to cross things off as I say them. So I'm just going to go over this. We have the kidneys, and then we have a ureter that leads down to the bladder. And the bladder holds urine that the kidneys put through the ureter. So bladder will hold the urine, and then your urine will go out your urethra. All right. And so within the kidneys, we have a nephron. This whole thing is a nephron. So we have a glomerulus, which is the main area of filtration right here. And then we have this big long tubule. Now this area is called the proximal convoluted tubule. And basically what happens here is Na and Cl, they get reabsorbed into the bloodstream or the interstitial fluid. And reabsorption basically means that it will be going back into the blood instead of following the path out to essentially your ureter, bladder, and then your urethra. So Na and Cl is not getting excreted. And whenever NaCl comes out, so it gets reabsorbed, it turns into NaCl. And whenever you have salt or sodium chloride right here, water is always going to want to follow that sodium chloride, right? Basically, what's happening here is we're trying to get rid of any acidity that has entered our body. So any hydrogen ions that have entered, they're going to be secreted into the tubule. So I've already mentioned secretion, reabsorption, and the main end goal here is for anything in this tubule to be excreted from the urethra. So I've mentioned excretion as well. And nephron, proximal. So we've talked about the proximal convoluted tubule. So we're going to come down here to the loop of Henle. Now, the loop of Henle, we have a descending limb and an ascending limb, right? So for the descending limb, the only thing that is able to be reabsorbed into our bloodstream is water, right? So the descending limb is permeable to water, but it is not permeable to any other solutes. Now the ascending limb is quite different. The ascending limb does not allow water to be reabsorbed. Instead, the ascending limb potassium will be secreted into here because we do not want a lot of potassium in our bodies. But basically, the two familiar things up here, NaCl, they're going to be making an appearance at the ascending limb. So salt is being excreted at the ascending limb. And now we're moving on to so we have a proximal convoluted tubule, we have a distal convoluted tubule. And basically what's happening here is we're having Na and Cl along with some potassium because your body does need some potassium, right? So NaCl, it's going to be released wherever it can be except the descending because the descending is not permeable to solutes. And finally, we have the collecting duct right here. Now this has a bunch of aquaporins that basically want to reabsorb water into our bloodstream. So there's going to be a lot of water reabsorption here because we don't want a whole lot of water to be excreted. We want to keep it in order to stay hydrated. And that has been my video on the kidneys along with the parts of the nephron, along with the bladder and urethra, and that entire process. Thank you.